everyone. Welcome to the 10-minute trainings on Lender's Office. This is Stephen Martin, and today we're going to go over the DocMagic interface and how to use it to draw up your initial disclosures. First thing you'll want to do is, after you've entered in all your information, is to make sure that your items are correct on your GFE, on your till, and also on your agent screen. And I'll go into details on that in a little bit here. But on your 2010 GFE, make sure that your information is correct here: your interest rate, term, amortization type, first payment date, estimated closing date, lock date if it's applicable. Make sure that your interest rate is good through date. So here we'll put in. This has to be 10 business days. Normally would. Make sure that your rate lock period and rate must be locked by a certain amount of days as company policy. Scroll down and make sure everything's correct. On line 802, credit or charge, if this is a discount point, you would put it in as a positive number, and that would be an APR impacting. But if you're getting credit because of the pricing, you put it in as a negative number. In this case, we'll use negative 0.75, and it would not be APR impacting. And just as the compliance bulletin went out with the requirement that lender credits are itemized, you'll see that we've actually itemized our credits here according to the amount that's actually being credited. Once you've entered in all your information, go ahead and hit save. Moving on to the Truth in Lending screen. Since this was a 30-year fixed conventional, this should all populate correctly from your template that you created at the beginning of your loan. And once you've finished that, go to the status screen, and then go to agents. Here, make sure that your agents are correct. The ECOA, mortgagee, will be populated automatically by your template that was used to create the loan. Loan officer will populate when you select the loan officer on the 1003 or the loan information screen. You'll have to automatically put in the processor, your manager, any of that other information, and the lender will also populate. But one thing you'll have to actually add to the screen is your title and your closing agent. And it's important to do this here so that it populates onto the GFE service provider form. The way you enter in this information is just go to Add People, select the contact type. Select the contact type, then you can select Pick from Contacts if one's already been entered in. Closing agent in there, but go ahead and select, if there wasn't one in here, you can go ahead and add a new entry for the type of entry that's supposed to be. And the Old Republic title. Once you select that information, make sure that it is a complete entry, that all information is actually in there. Phone number will need to be put in, fax if it's available, but it's more important that the company phone and company fax is in there as well, since that's what's going to populate into that information. We can save. Back to the agents list. That one. Once this information is complete and you've completed all of your other screens, you'll want to go to the services, scroll down until you see DocMagic. That's 2010 GFE selected from there, and click Export to DocMagic. You'll get a pop-up with your information that you'll have to type in just the one time. And if you don't want to have to remember that information, you can just make sure that the Remember Logon credentials is checked. And I've linked that out because we're going to start a new worksheet. If you are redisclosing a set of disclosures that were already sent the initial set, you would leave that number in there. But since we're starting with a new set, I've deleted that number, and we're going to go ahead and hit submit. Now, most of the information from Lender's Office is going to populate correctly from the system, and the main thing you're going to want to make sure is anything in red has to be completed. First thing you want to do is see the program is red. And since this is initial disclosures, your initial disclosures, we're not going to use any type of lender-specific program. So if it's fixed, use a generic fixed. If it's an ARM, you'll use a generic ARM. But since we've already shown that this is a fixed rate and it's conventional, only the fixed rate conventional plans are going to show up. So select our all fixed loans, generic plans, conventional, click OK. If this is a brokered loan, you would put in the brokered loan name here. Make sure loan rep is correct. That should populate from your system. And loan purpose, loan number, FHA or VA, put in the case number here. That would be opened up on if that type of program is selected. And we'll look over here at the dates on this one. Corrected it in the system. Don't worry about the signing date, cancel date, disbursement date. That's going to be for drawing loan docs. Lock. Only put in a rate lock date if it's actually locked. As you can see, rate lock days 10 is here. Rate available through 9/14, and time we're going to want to select 5 p.m. because it's floating right now. However, this is locked. You'll actually want to put in the rate lock date, the lock period, when your rate lock expires, and here, instead of 1, it actually just delete out the number completely. By deleting out that number, NA will show up on your GFE to show that your rate is actually locked. So, but we'll go ahead and put a 1 back in there since this is floating. Go to your borrower screen, and in this case, our borrower's name is Sample. In the details section, go ahead and click that. Your scores will automatically populate from your credit report from lender's office. But what's important here is with conventional loans, we can use the click sign feature. And the only way to do that is to make sure that the borrower's email address is there. So I'm just going to put in my email address because we don't want this to be sent to someone by accident. But after you put in that email address, click OK. And you'll do that for each borrower that's listed, so that way it sends a set of docs to each individual borrower. Make sure the property information is correct. And one of the things that may not be correct here is the county. There are fail errors built into the system so that if a county is not listed, you will not be able to draw your documents during the audit phase. And just go through, make sure your terms is corrected. Prepaid interest, leave that as 15. But because we've put in that in other information, it's going to actually calculate it correctly. This was an ARM. This information will populate automatically from your truth in lending and your ARM disclosure section. By putting in that information on the agent screen, this information is going to populate. Since I had all this information in on the agent screen, we have the settlement, closing, and title insurance, along with the loan originator, company, and loan originator, actual individual. I am listed as the loan originator on this loan, and we'll see where that comes into play later on. Payoffs will be listed here, along with the amount. Charges, fees, and premiums. Because we're receiving a lender credit on this, you'll see that automatically populates as a yield spread premium to broker. You'll want to select borrower because it's a lender credit going to the borrower. Click OK. And the items that we had being paid by the lender in our system show as being paid by lender here. Impounds, make sure that if there's going to be impounds that there is an amount here. Don't worry about the number of months being correct because that's all relative on the dates those items are due along with your closing date. So this does not have to be 100% accurate at this time because it is just an estimate. Double check your GFE, make sure that it's being calculated correctly. Once we finish this, we can go ahead and click the audit to audit what our system is. As you can see, we have a few warnings and one fatal. One of the fatals is that there's no NMLS identifier provided for Stephen Martin. And that's because I don't have an NMLS number. Loan originators that are in the system in lender's office already have their NMLS number listed to them, so it will populate correctly from lender's office. But since I'm not a loan originator, I don't have an NMLS number, so I'll show you where to correct that if that ever occurs. Warning, no loan fee detected. That's because we don't have an origination. We don't have a discount because of the fact that we're getting a lender credit. So GFE initial deposit detected, that's fine. Charge in HUD, reduced charge of credit, borrower's excess amount $4,415. Warnings says that rate lock date is missing. DocMagic has defaulted to the document date of 9/14/2011 to run the HPML audit. Now, for those of you in the states where there is a very low tolerance for the HPML because of loan amounts and the interest rates available for your pricing, this is going to be key to you. It says rate lock date is missing, but that's because it's floating, and what it's basically telling you is that it's defaulting to document date for the HPML test. That's nothing to be worried about. But we have one fatal, so we can go to click on that and go to selected audit. Right here, where I'm listed, go ahead and click the details section. Your license number for the state and your NMLS number should be listed there. I don't have one, but I need one in order to proceed. I'm just going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. Run the audit, and we have no more fatal errors. So we'll go ahead and process this. Also closing documents, but your account settings won't allow that, so go ahead and go to the initial disclosures. DocMagic e-sign and signature enable. That allows us to use the click sign feature. Process the loan. We'll receive a pop-up showing that exactly what we sent to the borrowers. Now, one of the questions we received before is whether or not we will be using the system to send out redisclosures, and yes, we will. But we'll also have to correct any of this information on the NDIA information we lost. Let's disclose APR. Charges GFE, make sure that it'll take a look at what was actually previously disclosed as opposed to what is in there now, and it'll actually calculate whether or not that you've exceeded any tolerances, but you'll still go through the audit and process to questions is also if you wanted to just see an Adobe PDF of the disclosures, because the borrower is sitting there at your table and you want to just print them out rather than have them be sent to them. You would just use Adobe PDF initial disclosures and process. You wouldn't select any other information there. Now, this detailed report does not go to the borrower. That's just a worksheet for you to double check the information that was actually sent in. All the different RESPA items. Print these items out and just have the borrower sign them right there at your table. Now, if you have any questions in the future, you can email vapor@isurflending.com, and either Michael, Brett, Adam, or myself will get back to you as soon as we are able to with the answers to your questions. Thank you for attending this session, and like I said, if you have any questions, please use that email address, and have a great day.